And we are at the peak of pollen season. Good evening to you. Meteorologist Melissa Nord here with your live weather update on this 24/7 Weather Impact channel. And I wanted to start off talking about the pollen today because this is something that impacts 25% of adults and 1 in 5 or 20% of children. So it's impacting a lot of people. And this was some of that pollen earlier today. This photo from one of our 11 Alive Weather Impact team members on Facebook. Michael sent in this photo and he said, you know, this is nature's art. Is it nature's art or is it nature's poison? I'm not really sure. A lot of folks are suffering right now with sneezing and itchiness and runny eyes, watery eyes, runny noses and all of that. But I do think this is a really beautiful picture at the same time because it simulates that we're in this time of year of change, of springtime. We've got everything blooming outside, and pollination is the process of keeping those things blooming from here on out. Of course, the yellow pollen that you see everywhere, that is from pine trees. That's not from the pollen types that irritate us. Pine pollen is so large that we can see it, and when we get a rain like we did this morning, we often see that pollen gets washed off the cars, washed off the roads, and into puddles of pollen. Is how I would kind of describe it. So a pretty photo, but of course we know that if you had smell-o-vision, you'd be sneezing. Another video, this one coming in from, actually I was out grocery shopping with my daughter and noticed the pollen, the film of pollen on top of the water puddle there in the grocery store parking lot. But why am I showing you that? It's because today the pollen count has reached its highest so far this season. It reached over 3,000 for the first time this year. That pollen count 3028. Of course, it's the tree pollen this time of year for the next 2 weeks or so that it's in its absolute peak of the year. We'll see it after that first to second week of April, getting a little bit better. But for the next 2 weeks, if you're an allergy sufferer, there's going to be a lot of days like this when you don't even need to see the pollen count. You know it's bad outside. Main contributors today, pine, oak, sweet gum, and hackberry. Also, birch trees are in those top 5 of contributors as well right now. So tree pollen 3028, that total pollen count today. And this is collected each and every day by Atlanta Allergy and Asthma. Normally it's on weekdays, but starting this past weekend, and for the next few weekends, while we're in this peak of pollen season, they actually bring in their expert pollen counters on the weekends as well. So we did have pollen counts this past Saturday and Sunday, and we will get those this coming Saturday and Sunday as well. And that's important because how they collect the pollen, it's on a rotorod machine. It's this little device that spins, and it's sitting about 10 feet above the top of a parking deck at one of their locations. And that rotorod machine is collecting all the pollen grains that are being blown in the air. But when you just count that pollen on a Monday and not seeing it since Saturday or Friday, you get a little extra buildup. But then when we add in these Saturday and Sunday countings, they're really getting the most accurate data out there. So each and every day, 7 days a week, they're in there counting the pollen, taking it off the rotorod machine, each and every day around the same time. It's around between the 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. hour each morning, and they collect that pollen. They examine it under a microscope with a stain, and they're able to see the different shapes under the microscope, what they look like, and that's how they come up with these pollen counts each and every day. This was our second extremely high pollen count so far of March and so far of this pollen season. We had one last Thursday at 1551. Today's is over 3,000. Is that the top of the top, the creme de la creme, so to speak? Not exactly. No. The peak numbers that we have, our top 5, are all above 8,000. We typically see 12 to 13 extremely high days per season. That's based on, I looked at 10 years of data and I kind of averaged the numbers because Atlanta Allergy and Asthma has a lot of this data online. But each and every year, we average about 3 days with that pollen count above 4,000. So today we were just shy of it. We're probably, with warmer, breezy days coming up, going to see more of that pollen being blown around, ending up on the rotorod machine, and you guessed it, that means pollen counts are going to go up again. All right, so we had some rain that made things a little bit more easy to breathe through earlier today, but the sun's coming back tomorrow and that's going to make things worse again. So the pollen count, don't be surprised if it's a little bit lower tomorrow just because of this morning's rain, but I expect it to go up again as we get into the second part of the week. We've got cloud cover that's decreasing. One thing that's interesting is the radar's picking up on some hints of moisture. We may see a little bit of low-level fog forming overnight tonight because the winds are not going to pick up significantly overnight. We might have, especially in better protected valleys, some lower winds, lighter winds that can sometimes lead to some fog formation where we have a little moisture left on the ground. So a little bit of patchy fog overnight tonight. Otherwise, clearing skies are expected. And you see those clear skies north and west of us across Alabama and Tennessee. That is the weather incoming for tomorrow. So we have sunshine returning, mild and breezy conditions. And as we dry things out over the next couple of days, and have a pair of breezy afternoons, this is going to once again increase the fire risk. There have been in the last week over 2,000 acres burned across the state. The Georgia Forestry Commission keeps tabs of all of those active fires that have been going, and they have an incident web browser so you can actually see where some of those fires pop up each and every day. One of those fires that popped up over the weekend was in Floyd County, and finally today I think it's at 95% containment. There was another fire that was in a forest area up in Rabun County over the weekend, not far from Clayton, Georgia, and that one grew, I think, to over 20 acres in size. But temperatures are going to be warmer tomorrow. This is your live update, so I'm going to show you the temperatures right now. 57 Atlanta, Marietta, Duluth, 54 in LaGrange. Some of us did spend the majority of the afternoon in the 50s today because of the rain moving in, all the cloud cover, but these temperatures right now behind the rain running about 10 to 15 degrees colder than this time yesterday. But if we look at this graphic tomorrow, it's going to be all in the positive because we're going back up the roller coaster tomorrow afternoon. Let me show you forecast track hour by hour. Clouds continue clearing out this evening, and I mentioned the sunshine coming back. We will start chilly tomorrow morning in the 40s. But watch how the sunshine changes those temperatures really quickly into the afternoon. We get into your lunchtime tomorrow. This is 11:30, and look at this. A breeze from the southwest is kicking those temperatures up into the mid and upper 60s. And then late in the afternoon, we'll see those numbers going up into the 70s. So upper 70s for a lot of us tomorrow afternoon and evening. It'll be a warm, gusty day outside, and that breeze in the air is going to stick with us on Wednesday as well. So we'll have a pair of breezy days out there across North Georgia that we expect to last through Wednesday. Now, you notice there's a lot of sunshine the next couple of days, but these little arrows, I don't know if you can see them on the graphic, they look a little bit different for Wednesday versus Tuesday. That's because the winds are coming in from the north and west on Wednesday, and that is behind a front. And that front, it's not a huge front, but it's going to drive in some slightly cooler temperatures there. So slightly cooler temperatures for Wednesday. And then as we get into the rest of the week, we'll see those numbers rebounding again for the end of the work week. So we'll start off in the 40s tomorrow morning, mid 40s, some of us closer to the low 40s and even some 30s in the North Georgia mountains. And then for the afternoon on Tuesday, a lot of sunshine. And that's going to mean a quick warm up throughout the day. Starting off chilly in the morning. Look how it ramps up pretty quickly throughout the morning hours, and then by the afternoon we're spending it in the 70s. Breezy winds, but mild and beautiful outside. You can see those wind gusts picking up tomorrow afternoon on our forecast gust graphic. The morning time, the wind should be pretty light. So as I mentioned, there might be a little bit of patchy fog that does form, but the winds will pick up. And this is really going to warm us up by the afternoon on your Tuesday. So some of these gusts, especially across far north Georgia, could be around 20, 25, 30 miles per hour. And that really quickly is going to dry out the ground again. We only picked up 1,400ths of an inch of rain. That means 0.14 at the airport in Atlanta today. A lot of far north Georgia was also in that less than quarter of an inch category. So we're going to start to dry things out really quickly, elevate the fire risk. Let me show you the winds on Wednesday. Again, we have that front passing through early Wednesday morning, and then behind it, watch the winds picking up again. Some of those gusts on Wednesday around 30 miles per hour. this time of year, we've actually seen this happening for the last 4 months or so. We get sunshine, we get dry ground, we get a northwest wind and dropping humidity, and we end up often superseding the temperatures. But as we do that, the humidity levels outside really drop much lower. So we could be looking at relative humidity levels in the air around 20% or so for Wednesday and even Tuesday afternoon, and that means any spark that ignites could spread a lot quicker. So this, we had 3 red flag warnings already this month. We could potentially see another one on Wednesday. We'll see what they end up doing, but it's just not the time to burn a bunch of things outdoors. I know sometimes this time of year there's prescribed fires where they're trying to prevent worse wildfires from happening later, but this is just not the best week with these breezy winds Tuesday and Wednesday to be doing outdoor burning. High temperature tomorrow, a lot warmer than today. We're going to top out mid and upper 70s across North Georgia. 77 Atlanta, got low 70s up in the North Georgia mountains, and a couple spots could be close to 80. We keep that same jet stream pattern going the next couple of days. There's that dry front passing through, which knocks us back from the upper 70s to the low 70s Wednesday and Thursday. But as opposed to last week when we had more substantial cold air coming in, this week we're really just barely cooling it off behind that front. I mean, just barely. 77 to 72 to 73, and then you notice by the end of the week we are back in the upper 70s, and I think we could be around 80 degrees. Now, while we track those temperatures changing, we're also going to see that your low temperatures this week are not anywhere near as cold as they were last week. Remember, last week we had a couple different days with frost advisories and freeze warnings. This week, we don't have any of that, and I'm not sure if we will have any of that here over the next 7 days. Your low tomorrow, 47. Again, there's a few upper 30s in the North Georgia mountains. We get into Wednesday. The next front's coming in first thing in the morning, so we start off at 50, and then behind that front, we drop that morning low off to 46 again. But even then, I don't think we're going to have those outlying suburbs getting down to the mid-30s to where they'd issue these frost advisories or freeze warnings. Okay, so dry weather moving in, breezy and mild. When does it change? It changes this weekend. So I know last weekend was beautiful with sunshine both days. This time around, we are looking at increased chances of showers and even some thunderstorms over the weekend. Now, before you go and change your plans, it's not going to be a washout for the weekend. There will be maybe a 20% chance of a shower Saturday. We go into Sunday, there might be some hit or miss showers or storms around, but it looks like it's going to be scattered enough to where most of your outdoor plans are going to be okay. But what I'm going to be watching over the weekend is this next incoming front. This is the European model, and it's showing the front holding off until Monday. The American model has this front coming in Sunday night into early Monday morning. So the timing of it's still a little bit up in the air by about 12 to 24 hours. But it's this front that'll be coming through where we have a better chance of showers, better chance of thunderstorms. In advance of this, we could hit 80 degrees. That means a little bit more instability for storms. There's not as great of wind shear as what we just had a week ago. 2 weekends ago, right, when we had that tornado in Paulding County. There's a little bit of low-level wind shear, but it's not very strong of a wind. So it's something we're going to be watching. We're at that time of year where any little front coming in this time of year, we have to watch for severe weather. March and April are our peak of severe weather season. And the Storm Prediction Center is already putting parts of North Georgia in this 15% chance of severe weather for Sunday afternoon through early Monday morning. This is a massive chunk of real estate to include in a day 6 outlook. It is a very large area. They're basically saying we're going to be tracking some storms somewhere, right? But what we're going to watch is, as we go through the next couple of days, what does the timing actually look like for these storms? Is it an overnight event? Is it a middle of the afternoon event? And are we going to see a lot of cloud cover and rain chances ahead of that to where it stabilizes the atmosphere? We are going to have some cooler air coming in behind it, so that's one of the ingredients if we get that clash of warm and cool air to where we can see a more dynamic setup. But again, they're highlighting a big area all the way from Toledo and southern Michigan back to Louisiana and East Texas. And that's all for Sunday into Monday morning. So they've got about half of our area in that. you can equate it to a slight risk of severe weather, but it is a long way between here and there. We look at a lot of different ingredients for severe weather. We're looking at wind shear, lift. We're going to have a front coming in. We have a little bit of wind shear there. Instability, that depends on what time of day this is coming in. And then, of course, moisture. We are going to have plenty of moisture. Dew points are going to be rising into the 60s, but we'll have to see once we get closer to this system actually coming in, the timing of it and what that means for waves or rounds of showers and thunderstorms. So some of us do have storm anxiety if you've been impacted by severe weather in your lifetime, but this is, as of now, nothing to be alarmed or concerned about. It is a sign of the times, and the times are that we are in the end of March. This is severe weather season. We can and do see thunderstorms this time of year, and that's something we're going to be watching. So I'll show you on our 7-day forecast. We have sunshine tomorrow. Again, breezy winds picking up in the afternoon. Might be a slight amount of fog in the morning, but quickly returning to sunshine, high of 77. A little bit cooler, a dry front passes through for Wednesday. It just knocks the temperatures back by 5 degrees, does not bring us any chance of rain. Thursday, dry as well, high of 73. We bring in the moisture with a south wind on Friday. That'll pump us up to 78 degrees. I left a 20% chance of a shower in on Saturday. There might be a couple of spotty showers, but I think most of Saturday is going to be okay. It's going to be warm, breezy outside. A lot more clouds than we see during the work week. And then Sunday, 30% chance of some hit or miss showers or thunderstorms. Right now, we could see some in the afternoon, but it's watching for when the next front comes in. And right now, I'm pegging for that to happen during the day on Monday. That's why I've raised Monday's rain chance to 50% chance of showers and thunderstorms. So that is your latest weather update here on 24/7 Weather Impact Channel. Remember, we are always on streaming here on 11 Alive Plus with your latest weather conditions out the door. And you can catch my latest forecast tonight on 11 Alive News at 11. We'll see you then.